Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Asara at Asara MBTI, and today's video is going to be on the differences between the ESFP and the ENFP, the performer and the inspirer. And one thing to note about this two types is that their secondary and tertiary functions are the same, and I'll go into that in a moment when I go over their functions altogether. But their primary and repressed functions are different, and that's going to affect the decision-making process. And I'm going to talk about that. Alright, as usual, I will start off by listing the cognitive differences between the two. To start, the ESFP has dominant extroverted sensing, secondary introverted feeling, tertiary extroverted thinking, and repressed introverted intuition. The ENFP has dominant extroverted intuition, secondary introverted feeling, tertiary extroverted thinking, and repressed introverted sensing. Now, the one thing to note between these two types is that introverted feeling and extroverted thinking are shared, but their perceiving functions are swapped. Whereas the ESFP has extroverted sensing and the ENFP has introverted sensing, and they are also swapped in position of primary and repressed functions. And that is going to change how they approach life and how they approach the decisions they're going to make. Let's start off with the ESFP, and I believe the ESFP gets largely underrated in the MBTI community. A lot of people, when they think of ESFPs, they think of people who just aren't really smart or aren't really educated, and I don't agree with that, because a lot of ESFP people out there are smart, and they're very passionate, and that's the one thing that can be said about the ESFP more so than any other type, is that they are passionate, and what they are passionate about, they will pursue with utmost energy. That's what they are. They are energy about what they enjoy, energy about who they are. Okay, so to start off explaining their cognitive functions, extroverted sensing is the dominant function of the ESFP. And extroverted sensing is pretty simple to explain because extroverted sensing is literally how you perceive the physical world around you. People who have dominant extroverted sensing live for physical sensation and excitement. ESFPs are usually thrill seekers. They're usually people who are going to enjoy things like roller coasters and going to parties and being around people and adrenaline. They live for the physical sensation that they enjoy, and that's just what makes them happy and what they believe can make other people happy. And they are very known for being the performer because of the fact that they are full of energy. They will go on stage and they will stand in front of people and be true to who they are. And that comes from their secondary introverted feeling, which introverted feeling sets aside who they are as an individual. The ESFP is more likely to feel as themselves than maybe an ESTP who has extroverted feeling, who is going to relate to society a bit more. The ESFP likes to be unique in the world around them. They like to enjoy their thrill-seeking activities, but they also like to be themselves while doing it. And usually their extroverted sensing activities are going to be based around what they enjoy as an individual, what their morals and standpoints point them to, how they can relate to these activities on a personal level. All right, on to tertiary extroverted thinking. And tertiary extroverted thinking is not fully repressed in the ESFP. So they're going to have a small amount of ability to organize their external world and decide how they want to get things done. They're not going to be as proficient in this organization as, say, an ENTJ or an INTJ who have dominant extroverted thinking or secondary extroverted thinking, and they can sometimes forget or lose control of their ability to plan the external world. I notice a lot of ESFPs like to organize their immediate environment because it feels like they have used their TE or extroverted thinking to help them in their world around them, but it's not so much a focus. It's not what they're really desiring to work on. They're more concerned with their introverted feeling than they are with their extroverted thinking. The ESFPs are likely to somewhat structure their day. They're going to say, well, I need to get this done in this amount of time. I'm going to give myself some extra time just to make sure I get it done, and it's probably going to take me all that time to actually do it. But that being said, ESFPs who are matured and have trained their extroverted thinking can be known to do very well in accomplishing tasks and making sure things get done. But that usually comes with age and maturity with the ESFP. All right, to explain the repressed function of the ESFP, introverted intuition, I would like to first discuss a little bit about the extroverted sensing, introverted intuition axis, because without fully understanding what introverted intuition is, you're going to have a problem understanding why it's repressed. All right, so the extroverted sensing dominant type looks and experiences an event in its fullest. It experiences all of the physical sensations that are going to come from this event. They see and experience the event itself. While the dominant introverted intuitive type looks past the event at the why, the causes, the effects behind the event. They want to know the reasoning and where it's going to go to. They are looking past the event at the cost of experiencing the event in its fullest. They are not actually being one-on-one engaged with the event itself. And that's the difference between the say-dom and the ni-dom. Now, the problem with repressed introverted intuition in the ESFP is that it's going to lead them to not be very trained at looking at the why, the causes, and effects in events. So, for example, Jack always waves to Sally every single day. One day, Jack doesn't wave to Sally. Sally, if she is untrained in introverted intuition, might think to herself, "Oh no, why didn't Jack wave to me? He must be mad at me. What's going to happen?" They're going to start creating and being somewhat paranoid about that outcome. Whereas the person who is trained in introverted intuition, the INTJ, INFJ, or even other types who don't have it at their dominant type, or secondary and tertiary, might think to themselves, well, Jack's been stressed. He had a test that he's been studying for. He probably just didn't wave to me because he didn't see me. Something along those lines. They're going to have a better time rationalizing the why, causes, and effects behind events. All right, on to the ENFP. And one thing I'm going to say before I start with the ENFP is I'm not going to go over the secondary and tertiary functions of the ENFP really alongside the fact that it really is extremely similar to the ESFP. And okay, so the ENFP has dominant extroverted intuition. This is going to lead them to be very perceptive and idea-based of the external world. The ENFP is going to enjoy exploring ideas and dreaming about things. They're going to be the ones who are going to have creative and new imaginative ideas on how things can be done. They might not always have perfectly planned ways of coming about achieving these dreams and ideas, but they're going to be new and fantastic in the mind of the ENFP. The ENFP often is known for being somewhat sporadic. This is, of course, not going to be usual for every single ENFP, but ENFPs are known for being able to jump between topic to topic very, very quickly. And that's just because they have so many ideas going on in their head. The ENFP is able to see the connections in the external world. They're going to be able to see connections that other people who aren't as trained in intuition don't see. And it's going to just kind of appear to them because it's information being received from their subconscious, from the external world. And this is going to lead them to have that sporadic and all over the place kind of nature. To gloss over quickly the phi-te axis of the ENFP, phi is going to lead them to be very individualistic and have their own sense of who they are. They're not going to be or want to relate to society as much as they're going to want to be their own individual person with creative and unique ideas. All right, let's talk about repressed introverted sensing in the ENFP. Now, repressed introverted sensing in the ENFP is going to lead them to not want to have a strong relation with reality and the world they are currently living in. ENFPs are very known for wanting to go from place to place and do thing to thing, and they dislike schedule, they dislike routine, they dislike being anchored down. They want to experience new things. I often explain the ENFP as an adventurer or an explorer, and whenever people ask me what extroverted intuition is, I often relate it to the video game Skyrim or just any exploring video game, whereas the ENFP is probably going to enjoy the fact and they're going to enjoy the act of exploring for the sake of exploring. They just want to go see new things and do new things that excite them and are fun to them because of their ideas about these things. They're going to want to experience and learn about new things for the sake of doing them. Where it's not like the ESFP's extroverted sensing, where the physical sensation is the rush they are achieving. For the ENFP, they are enjoying learning and experiencing the ideas around these new events. And that is the primary difference between the two. And because of this, repressed introverted sensing in the ENFP, again, they're not going to enjoy routine. And this can be a problem for ENFPs because they might not be able to ground themselves to things like jobs or workplaces that have strong ties to needing to come in on time and follow scheduled things. And I always joke with friends that if any of the types were going to be like this, the NFP types would be the ones who are not going to want to be tied down in marriage. They're not going to be the ones who are going to want to settle and do one thing for the rest of their life. NFP types like to be outgoing, open, experience new things, experience all the world has to offer, to enlighten their ideas and share their ideas with the world. Alright, that's all the time I have for this specific video. Now, the reason this video isn't as extremely in-depth or in detail as the other ones is because these two types are very similar because of the fact that they share two of the four functions. And if for some reason anyone has any more questions or wants to know more about each individual type, feel free to contact me, feel free to let me know. I'd be happy to let you know or share my knowledge on this topic with you. Thank you for watching, subscribe, tune in, leave a suggestion, let me know. This is Asura at Asura MBTI. Have a good one.